going on, everybody? How we doing? Welcome to another installment of NBA Friday. Though this week, because of March Madness, we decided we're going to put this up on Thursday for you all because we want you to be ready for the tournament. And we're talking about draft prospects in this tournament. So, guys, you can look forward to in the 2024 NBA draft. Tim Dandry here with Parker Field. Sean Mackey is not with us tonight, though this was his draft. We are still going to roll with the all-time best Final Four players. That should be a fun one. I'm actually pretty excited for that. So we're going to dive into that. Before we do, Parker, I do have to ask you, did you listen to Mind the Game?
I did. I listened to the full episode.
Loved
It was
it.
awesome.
Loved
it
it.
was awesome. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was funny where like LeBron downplayed JJ Redick's what like his skill or whatever, and I started cracking up. It's gonna be a cool podcast, definitely. Especially for like youth. Like I wish that was a thing when I was a kid, like actually playing basketball. Like it's a lot more like it's fun for us, but if I was still playing basketball, it's really freaking cool. Like to hear how LeBron views the game and stuff. And like JJ Redick knows what the hell he's talking about too. And I mean it's just cool to have LeBron on a podcast because like I think he's only done one podcast ever, and it was Richard Jefferson and Chang Fry's podcast. I
He's
don't
done
think
a
he's ever done. What else has he done?
Smartly, which is you might not know that show. It's couple like Jason Bateman from Arrested Development.
Okay, I know
He
Jason Bateman.
and Will Arnett from Arrested Development. They had
Yeah.
him on to promote Space Jam when it was coming
Okay.
out. And then yeah, I think other than that, I think he did like a couple things that uninterrupted, like, but
I don't consider the shop a
no,
podcast.
no, not the
No.
shop, but there was like this short time ever Carter had a podcast and it did not last
Okay.
very long. But yeah, this is like I like that since it's a basketball podcast about basketball, it's not like, oh man, was
Who's
Paul
the
George
GOAT?
gonna go to the Sixers? Yeah, like
Yeah. It's just like
it,
about the actual game of basketball, not like random news and crap. Because we
yeah.
have enough of that.
Yeah, I mean we're doing one as we speak right now.
I
So
saw literally, and I saw something on Twitter that was like, how many like LeCap moments are gonna be on there where it's like LeBron's gonna be like 2003, like I saw this coming from a mile away and
yeah.
stuff like that. They're like, we're gonna see a lot of these. Like, there's gonna be a lot of LeBron memes coming from this.
Oh, for sure. I figured there was gonna be one already when he was talking about like the comeback against the Clippers. I was like, someone's gonna tear this apart. But
Yeah,
um yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out, check out Mind the Game. It's LeBron James and JJ Redick doing a podcast, and they literally like explain like horns and floppy and all these like offensive sets to you. And they talk about what makes Steph Curry so incredible and how he kind of changed the game and stuff. It's an awesome listen for basketball fans.
I'm curious. Are they doing every episode in person?
I think that's the game plan, from what I understand. I don't
But
know if
like,
it's
how are they?
possible.
Is it possible? I mean, JJ probably does do a lot of LeBron games now,
Yeah.
honestly, because they're always on ESPN as the number one game, even though they're not that good. It's LeBron and it's the Lakers. So, yeah, I'm curious, are they going to do every episode in person and stuff? And
Yeah.
I'm curious how this came about, too. Like, I'm curious, like, how it all started.
Yeah, I like that clip they had at the beginning where there was like you kind of heard them like, "This is what I want this to be. I want it to be positive. I want it to be," and I thought that was cool how they kind of had that insert in there, even though it was definitely staged to be in there. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I dug it, man. I dug it. So we're gonna kind of go through the tournament a little bit. You just kind of talk to you guys, like we said, about people you can look forward to watching and what they could be in the NBA draft. We're gonna go region by region, the bracket, to kind of talk about different guys. We're not gonna go through every team just because that would take forever, but 2 or 3 guys from each region we're gonna kind of tell you about and get things you can look forward to. And we'll start in the East. We'll start right up front. UConn, obviously, #1 overall seed, defending national champions. If you ask me, I think the best team in the country. I saw them in person this year and was just blown away how good they were in multiple different ways. The way they create space on offense, the way they use everybody was unbelievable. So Parker, that kind of starts with Stephon Castle. He was Big East Freshman of the Year. He was multiple time Big East Freshman of the Week. And what's interesting is it took him a little bit to get going. He missed a little bit of the season to start, and he doesn't necessarily have his best shooting game, but with his talent, with his skill set, his ability to facilitate an offense, his ability to kind of to score and get to the rim so easily. He's really talented. He's a combo guard. He can rebound really, really well for his size, being 6'6", 190 point guard. Not necessarily the best 3-point shooter, but in this draft, with what his skill set is and what kind of, this is more of a draft of looking for solid role players, guys you can start in a playoff series, guys you can count on. I'd be very comfortable taking Stephon Castle in the top 5.
Yeah, I like Castle a lot. The shooting does really concern me a lot at this point because, like, if you watch a UConn game, which I've watched a good amount of UConn this year. Which also, if you haven't been watching them, I don't know what you're doing. They're
They're
so
awesome. They're so awesome.
the field. Um, but I also just feel like they're not going to win it all. But with Castle, his jump shot's really concerning because the way they defend him, if you watch them play, they really just Ben Simmons guard him. Like, he doesn't even look at the rim a lot of times when it's like a close competitive game. Like, I was watching the Creighton game, and that was a big time game, obviously, and they were down early. Creighton was literally just letting him shoot, and he would not shoot outside of the paint. Like, he was wide open. They weren't 10 feet from him. That's definitely concerning because I don't care as much about you're not a good shooter. I care more so when they won't even attempt them. That concerns me more because that's more of a mental thing than a skill thing, in my opinion. Like 28% is bad, but that's not like it's not the worst
It's
numbers you've
fixable.
ever. Yeah, in college especially, because most guys don't shoot good their freshman year in college. Reed Shepard shooting 50+% is just an anomaly. Most guys don't shoot. Most guys shoot in the low 30s in their freshman year of college, so that doesn't concern me that much. It's the attempts only at 2 that concerns me because he gets a lot of open looks.
He does.
And a guard that can't shoot in today's league is not very valuable.
Right. I mean, this is Scoot Henderson all over again.
But Scoot will shoot him at least.
Yeah, Scoot will at least take the shot. I think when he gets with an NBA shooting coach, he's going to learn that he can at least take the shot, be a threat there.
Yeah.
Maybe not knock them all down. Like
just
we said,
don't let him Ben Simmons guard you because that's
exactly
what they're doing.
Yeah, but everything else, the assist to turnover ratio is fantastic. His ability to block shots as a guard is awesome. And gets a little aggressive at times. He has a tendency to pick up a lot of fouls. He's had multiple games this year where he's fouled out, and he's had a lot of 3-4 foul games. But he's a guy I'm pretty excited about. I think has a lot of upside. And like you said, like it might take him 2-3 years to really grasp the league, but I do think he'll be a very good role player in the NBA.
Yeah, and he's still very young. He's only 19. He's a freshman.
Right. Who you have in your mind for the East?
I got Terrence Shannon Jr., projected late first, early second round pick. He very well, honestly, could be inching towards the lottery if he plays like this in the NCAA tournament. Even though he's old, I believe he's 23 or 24 years old.
23, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know when he turns 24?
He turns 24. I have it right in front of us, July 30th. So he will.
Yeah,
so when the season starts, he'll be 24. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a very much older player, but this guy is very good. Like if you watch him, he's James Harden in college.
Yeah,
that's what I would compare him to. Like he is a foul merchant. He's already got all the swipes, everything to draw fouls when people are on your hip. He's got all that already. So he's already well prepared for the NBA in that aspect. Like he's got the Trae Young and James Harden tricks to get to the foul line. Let me see. Yeah, 8.8 free throws per free throws attempted per game. That's nuts in college. Nobody's shooting 9 free throws a game in college. Like 23 points a game, very solid efficiency too, 47 from the field, 36 from 3. I mean, if you watched him the other night in that Big Ten championship, did you watch that game?
Mm-hmm.
He was awesome in that game.
He was awesome.
Awesome. Him and Damask for Illinois too. But like he's a bucket getter, and it genuinely feels like Illinois could go on a run just because his ability to get buckets at any time, because we know a lot of times that's been the problem with Purdue. They don't have somebody to just go get a bucket when the shot clock goes down and stuff like that. And Terrence Shannon Jr. is that guy. Don't be shocked if his draft stock rises even more, even though he's old. Because this draft isn't that good. There are going to be some older guys.
Yeah.
There's going to be some older guys that are taken in the lottery and stuff that usually aren't.
Yeah, he has a shot that translates to the NBA. He has the mechanics are great.
He reminds me so much of James Harden. Seriously.
Yeah, he's so good catching the ball off the screen and just putting the shot up on a catch and shoot. I like him a lot. I think, he had 2 years at Texas Tech before he got to Illinois. So he's a guy I'm a big fan of as well. And like you mentioned, so this is his last 5. We'll go through his last 7 games. 29 points, 23 points, 11 points. That's an outlier. 25, 28, 40, 34. He had 34 in the Big Ten championship. So, mind you, he also shot 3 of 6 from three in that game and had 17 free throws. You mentioned no one in college basketball gets to the line 9 times a game. How about 17 times in a game? That's
No,
DeMar DeRozan.
he's a
Yeah.
foul merchant. Like literally, if you
Yeah.
watch him, he's doing all the stuff that NBA players do to get fouls and stuff. Like you don't see that in college very often. I love his game.
I did too. And I think the thing that really jumped out to me the most from this year to last year, from last year to this year is what I mean, is he learned to create a shot. He wasn't
Mhm.
just relying on someone putting the ball in his hands. And I think that just made him go far leaps and bounds. So, yeah, I think those
That's
are
the
the
biggest
two.
skill to have in the NBA too. Seriously.
Yeah, I agree. And there's other guys in this region. Like I said, we just don't want, it would take us the whole night if we went through like Dalton Connect from him. Not Dalton Connect, what's his name? Dalton Connect's the Tennessee guy. Donovan Clingan from UConn is another guy. He's
This
probably
is
going to go
definitely
longer.
the least NBA
Yeah.
talent region though, for sure. Like there's not many first round picks in this region. There might be two.
No, there's definitely not. So yeah, the two might also play for the same team. So
Yeah,
we
literally.
yeah, we'll go there. All right, let's go to the West. And the guy that I'm going to bring up here, and this might be somewhat of a little bit biased just because he does play for a team in our regional area. Kind of same thing you were talking about with Terrence Shannon, though a little younger. I'm going to go with Deron Holmes from Dayton. Just the really nice, insane ability to get to the free throw line as a power forward is really impressive. Now, 20.4 points a game, obviously, 8 rebounds a game, 2 blocks a game. You're going to like all those things. He's going to be A10 player of the year, probably. That Dayton team is a team that's always under the radar. They're a 7 seed this year. They're a team that I think really has Sweet 16 capabilities if they get the right matchup, especially, I don't know if they could beat Arizona. So maybe I should take that back as I look more and more to the
They
brackets.
have a
Arizona's
tough
pretty awesome.
draw too. Who do they play in that first round
Nevada.
game? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Nevada's
that
good.
Nevada team good. I've watched weirdly a lot of Mountain West Conference because it's the only thing on at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So I've watched a lot of them. Um, I agree with you about Holmes. Like if you look at his stats this season, they're very similar to Obi Toppin's stats when he won Player of the Year in the country and stuff. Like they're not that far off. Same position and
Same
everything.
player,
He's a
same
very
school. Yeah.
yeah, same school, same position, everything. He's a really good player. Shoots the ball really well from three as well, 39%, but you would like to see, higher volume before you consider him like a good shooter per se, because 2.5 attempts a game, that's not a ton. But overall, really got a good player, really physical player. I think you can't really go wrong with taking him as a selection. Like, I don't think he's going to end up being great by any means, which is a lot of these guys. Like, I think he's definitely capable of being in a rotation on a really good team down the line.
Yeah. That was what I was gonna say.
But
He's a guy that he's gonna go to a good team because where he's gonna get drafted.
yeah, and there's not like crazy upside with him, but he'll be good and solid.
Yeah, like I could see him next year playing for like the Cavs and
Mhm.
just fitting in really well there. I could see him playing for the Bucks and being really good there. So that's kind of where he's gonna be drafted. You're not gonna see him go to like a Charlotte or a Portland. He's gonna have a chance to play on a good team and learn from really good players. So I'm excited to see what he could be there. And then who did you kind of go with in the West?
I'm going with Jacoby Walter here from Baylor.
Love him.
Very good scorer, very good 3 level scorer. Only thing that concerns me when I've watched him this year, obviously the Big 12 we know is very good, and the Big 12 is very physical. There's a lot of very physical defensive teams. He struggled when teams get up in him and stuff. That's what he's struggled with. If you really press up on him, that's when he has had his struggles, which concerns me a little bit, but not too much because he's going to get in the weight room. He's going to put on size, which he definitely
Yeah.
needs to at the next level. But just as a scoring like projection, he's going to be a really good scorer in the NBA.
Yeah, I think he's the best two in this draft. I would be fine with him going in that 5 to 10 range. I don't have a whole lot of tape on the international guys, I'll be honest, as much as I should, just because it's not super easy to track their film down for every game, even in 2024, where you can see as
Uh-huh.
much as we can for these college players. But as far as him, I know Kevin McCullough is a guy who a lot of people are talking about from Kansas. I would take him over McCullough. I would take him over Terrence Shannon. I like him a lot. I think, he's a
The
guy that has
age thing is the reason, though, for those. Honestly, that's the
yeah,
reason.
yeah, for sure. I mean, he's going to be 19 when the season starts for the NBA next year. So I like him a lot. I think he has a lot of upside. Um, you look at kind of these guys in the league right now, like Keontae George at Utah. I guess that's not fair considering he also went to Baylor, but I
Yeah,
think that could be a guy you can kind of see his skill set and kind of be a very similar player for. I love Keontae George, though, so it's probably
I
I'm
do
probably the
too.
worst
He's
guy.
been
Sorry.
really good since they've just kind of decided to quit trying to win again. They're
Yeah,
just kind of Colin Sexton looks damn good too. But
he does, man.
I have
Yeah,
a question for you.
yeah,
Does the putrid efficiency worry you?
yeah.
Because it's horrible. Like it's
It's not
horrible.
good.
It's really really bad. The Big 12 is very good defensively though, but 37% is horrible.
Yeah. So here's what it definitely worries me. But
I
what
think
it
it's
gets,
the physical thing that I mentioned though. A lot of his shots aren't coming at the rim. A lot of them are coming from 3 and mid range.
yeah, because we're also talking about the situation here where
I
you
mean,
mentioned that
actually,
he's 34% from three and he's 82% from the line. So
I
shooting's
think
not a concern.
I think the issue is he's taking 6.2 threes a game and he's only taking 10 and a half shots. So 60% of his shots are from 3.
Yeah.
So that's probably why the efficiency's so bad, truthfully.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at, the one thing about him that's really weird to me too is he is a really good free throw shooter, like we mentioned, 82% this
Mhm.
year. He has some games where he gets to the line for 12 shots. He has some games where he gets to the line for 2 shots.
Yeah.
And so, like, he's a guy that, especially in a tournament where you're going to need your guard play to be as good as possible, he's a guy that's going to have to force himself to the line to kind of give them chances to win games. Um, that's a good basketball team, really good coach, and Scott Drew. So, but I think, yeah, I think that will definitely get better with time. The numbers kind of have a little bit of an outlier with that 37%, like you talked about. So, I do think the 34 and the 82 from the line is more of who he is.
I
Um,
agree. I
so
uh I wanted to ask you, do you want to talk a little bit cuz I mean, he's honestly polarizing. Where do we think Caleb Love is he going to get drafted? Cuz he's in this region. Cuz
I don't know.
I think he should get drafted. I'm gonna be
I do
perfectly
too.
honest.
I
I
really
think
do.
he's I really truthfully think that he's going to be better than a lot of the people taken in the first round of the NBA. Like I think Caleb Love's going to have a role in the NBA. Truthfully,
Yeah.
off the bench to score.
Yeah, I think he's a guy you could see doing the G League for like a year or two, kind of go like on a two-way, kind of going back and
Mhm.
forth. And that's not a bad thing. Like the two-way
No.
situation's great for these guys who are like kind of learning how to play in the
Yeah, a
league.
two-way is way different than just a G League contract. It's two different
For
things.
sure. Yeah, very different things.
The pay is
Financially
very
and
different too.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
financially and gameplay wise.
Yeah.
So I would take him. I have no issues with that. I think that he's ran multiple offenses. That's going to help a lot between North Carolina and Arizona and whatever he was going to do at Michigan when everything kind of fell apart. Um, he's been a part of really good teams. I mean, he's
Mhm.
won. He's on a really good team this year. There's a really good chance he could be playing his former team in the Elite Eight this year, which would be awesome.
Arizona might be out this weekend though. There's the way
It's
they've
true. It's
done
Arizona.
the last
Yeah.
like 10 years. There's a good chance they're out this weekend. But
Hopefully Sean does not hear this podcast because I don't
is,
want to get him upset with
is
me.
he an
But
Arizona fan?
Sean Miller, former Arizona coach.
Sean Miller.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Sean Mackey. I was like, he's an Arizona
Nah,
fan.
he's a Kentucky fan. So
That's what I thought. That's what I was like. He's an Arizona fan.
yeah,
I
I would take him. If I had a second round pick, I would take him for sure.
Yeah, I feel like he's a very high upside, low like for a second round pick, I feel like that's a really good selection because there's a chance he ends up averaging 15 points a game in the NBA at some point.
He'll be a
And
Laker.
he does. He seems like a Laker. He does
Yeah,
on a two-way with him and Hood Shafino in the G League backcourt is deadly.
with Adam Kunkel now.
Yeah, with Adam Kunkel. That's right. They did
Yeah,
get I'm curious what happened with the Capitanes. I'm curious what happened with that because he was playing good for them, so that was
yeah, he
shocking.
was. But he only get like 8 games. According to his real GM profile, they said he released him. So
They released him.
yeah,
That's what I think happened, yeah. But that was just shocking to me. But I don't know, maybe he had something worked out with the Lakers or something too. Who knows?
could have. Yeah, who knows? All right, let's get to the South where we can talk about our favorite player in this draft. Both very similar. Both have the same player in this draft. Obviously, I know you have it as effective. He plays for your favorite team. I have as effective. He's my favorite player in college to watch. And we'll go with Reed Shepard because he's the real deal. I said in the podcast earlier this year that if he was 6'7", he'd 1000% be the first pick in the draft. He might still be the first pick in the draft without being 6'7". So I think the thing that really jumped out, and this is probably stereotyping him as, let's be honest, the white shooter from in college, was I totally underestimated how athletic he was. And
Oh, I knew that because like I'd seen him play in high school. He was like in the same tournament I was in high school and stuff. So I knew he was athletic as hell. The thing I didn't know about him was just I don't even know how to describe it. The point guard skill of him, like the floor
yes,
general skills. I thought he projected more as an off guard, which clearly, I mean, he can play combo guard, obviously, but like I've been shocked by the way he runs the floor and runs the team as the point guard. That's what has surprised me a little bit.
so I'm gonna read these numbers to you because
52.5% from 30. That's
oh,
stupid.
those are just the basketball card numbers.
Yeah.
54%, 53% from 3, 83% from the line, 12.8 points a game, 4.5 assists.
2.5 steals, though.
True shooting percentage, 71%. Effective field goal percentage, 69%. NBA 3-point percentage, 39%. Usage rate, only 18%.
Is he the greatest like analytics player of all time for a
Dude,
single season?
he is, yes.
Like, what would his numbers be if he was actually playing for like 37 minutes a night?
I know. Like,
he would probably be player of the year, right? In the country.
I would.
Actually, Edie just the production is too freaking.
Yeah.
It's too. You can't ignore it. As boring as he does put up some numbers.
Yeah. He's also, he can kind of do the whole like. Which we'll talk about Edie here in a little bit.
Everybody hates him. It's so funny.
Nobody
likes Zach Edey besides Purdue fans.
I have asked scouts about Zach Edey, and I'm like, what is his NBA skill? Well, actually, I'll save that. I'll save that for the conversation we have about him.
Yeah, we'll get to him.
But dude, there's just so much to love about Reed Sheppard and his ability. So 3-level scorer, can steal the ball, can rebound, does not turn the ball over. Would love to see him get, I kind of mentioned this with another guy already. I know I might be repeating myself. Would love to see him get to the free throw line just a little more. But also with the ability he has to shoot threes, he probably doesn't need to. Look, if you're the Spurs and he's sitting in your lap, no matter what pick you are, like,
yeah,
I don't know how you pass
Spurs
on
have
him.
the first pick, they need to take him.
Yeah,
he's
for
too
sure.
good a fit with Wemby.
Yeah, that's like that's your next dynasty. That's your next Spurs dynasty.
The one thing that I have a question about with him is just the potential. I don't know how high the potential is. I feel like he's the lowest or the highest floor prospect we've seen in forever. Like, there's no shot he's bad. But I don't know how much, like, superstar there is there. I don't know if there is superstar there.
Yeah, I don't want to compare him to JJ Redick and Kyle Korver because that's, profiling.
That's just, yeah.
But could I see him being a career 42% 3-point shooter in the NBA?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I wish he was like 6'5". I really do.
Dude, 6'5". This is not a conversation. We're talking about like a 4-time All-Star. Like,
yeah.
2 times.
It's the fact that he's like an actual point guard size. Like, I wish he could slide to the 2 or was a bigger. Like, he would be Tyrese Halliburton like esque if he was like 6'5". Is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. His backcourt, his backcourt mate, like the 2 best point guards in this draft just happen to be playing on the same team,
and they come off the bench.
Yeah, and the other Rob Dillingham, and okay, we just talked about Reed Sheppard, the ability to shoot threes, and he's definitely a better 3-point shooter than Dillingham, but that's not an insult to Dillingham. Yeah, Dillingham is a 45% 3-point shooter. He's a true shooting of 60% with effective field goal percentage of 57% and the NBA 3-point percentage of 39% with a much higher usage rate. Dude, lots to love about Dillingham and how his game translates to the NBA. Not so much defensively. There's some work to be done there. I think he could be a good team defender, but if he's in isolations, pray. But if he is a guy, he's a guy who can be a microwave for you. He currently comes off the bench in Kentucky, and he's a guy who comes in, he can just score 12 in a minute flat, and it's not a big deal. Just kind of the offense is moving through him. But I really like him. I think his game is really exciting. Like you mentioned, the more exciting of the 2 players. I could definitely see a scenario where these 2 guys are in the top 3.
I think Dillingham has higher potential than Reed.
I do too. Yeah,
But I
I
think
definitely
there's
do
a
too.
much higher chance that Dillingham struggles in the NBA. But I think that Dillingham could end up being a first team All NBA player at some point. That wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, I think his talent is worth the gamble.
Yes, agreed. He is the best college finisher at the rim, below the rim I've ever seen. Like it's Kyrie esque. The layups he does are stupid for an
They are.
18-year-old kid to do. Like they're stupid. Also, Dillingham is young as hell. I believe he just turned 19.
Yeah, he'll be 19 and a half come the
He,
draft.
he turned 19 recently. Then yeah,
Yeah.
he's young as hell. They're
Um,
and the crazy part is I I kind of like they come off the bench in a weird way. Like I kind of like it. I just think it's kind of like they get off to a bad start. Oh, here comes the two of the five best players in the country coming off the bench.
right.
Like it's kind of nice. I don't know. As
It
a
is
Kentucky fan, I
nice.
kind of like it, and like I don't mind Wagner being in there too to start because Reeves is their best player. Wagner's a really good defender. He's more physically ready than those two just to like defend and stuff like that
Yeah.
right now. But I don't know. Coming off the bench is kind of nice. Dillingham is, if you haven't watched Rob Dillingham, he's the most exciting player in the country.
He's so
Seriously,
good. He's
like
so fun to watch.
he can heat up so fast. Like he's had so many games where he just like this is who Kentucky goes to late in games. Like if a
Yeah.
game's close in March Madness, it's going to be Rob go get a bucket. That's what they do. They clear it out and he goes and gets a bucket.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's why this and what you said, how good he is, and then how bad he is defensively right now, is why Kentucky is the most confusing team in the country.
Yeah. They
I
really
would
are.
not be shocked if they won the national championship this year. I really would not be shocked. I also would not be shocked if they lost tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like literally,
I
Rob
I
Dillingham
agree.
explains them.
Yeah, like I have them in the final four. Do I feel super confident in that? No.
I put
But
100 on them to win it all. I mean, it pays out 3 point with a boost. It's 3.7 grand for $100. That's just too good to, especially for rooting interest and shit. Like, come on, I can
yeah.
root on my team to win it all for that. I can always cash out if they just make a little run, get to the final four. I mean, the cash out would be pretty nice at that point.
Yeah, for sure. Um, other guys in this draft, I mean, we don't have to go too deep. Kyle Filipkowski, not in love with him as an NBA player. And then Marquette has two guys, Osuya Gadaro, who has some Draymond Green to him, and then Tyler Kolek, who is literally the total prototypical.
John Stockton,
Yes, like
like white point guard.
yeah. Uh, Kolek's been hurt for a while, so I'm really curious to see what Marquette looks like with him coming back for the tournament. Um, Anyone else in this region you'd want to necessarily dive into, or you want to go ahead and move to the next one?
Not AJ Store actually. I think projects to be an NBA player. Not, I don't know about this year, but he's got some NBA potential for sure. Especially just like physically, like he's ready to be in the NBA, like
Yeah.
physicality wise. AJ Store's the only guy. The rest of these guys really aren't NBA players, to be honest with you. Like Clayton Jr. from Florida, I don't really think that's an NBA
Nah.
player. Jamal Shed will be on a two-way somewhere. He'll be on a two-way, but I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not. This really isn't just. This draft is just not that good.
No,
It
it's
really
not.
isn't.
Especially because we're in the middle of these two drafts where last year we had really fun guys to talk about. And then next year for 2025, we have another super fun draft with a ton of guys to talk about. And then we have this draft here where the talent level's not the same. There's no like star potential in the guys that we talk about in the draft. It's sandwiched between. Then again, a lot of people thought this about the 2020 draft, and that draft looks better and better by the week. So
Yeah, I have a question. Because I haven't been keeping up like that greatly with the draft stuff. What is Matas like projected? Is he still supposed to be high up there,
top
or
5,
is his
yeah.
draft really? I don't
I
think he's
don't
that
love
good.
him. No, I don't
don't
love him.
either. I've watched a good amount of his stuff, and I'm not the biggest. Like I see the mock drafts and stuff, but I just didn't know because there's so many. I don't know which one's like accurate. Actually, who
Yeah,
knows?
him and like I don't love Ron Holland
Hasn't Cody Williams' draft stock fallen off?
a little bit, but he's still going like the top 10. I mean, he's still a guy
He was
that
supposed to be the number one pick at one point, though, of the
there's
season.
this whole draft has literally been like this guy could be the number one pick. This guy could be the number one pick. Because right now it's Alexander Sarr, Olivier's brother.
I don't think he's like game changing either, honestly.
No.
So like, I would
Yeah,
honestly, truthfully, if I was a team and I needed a guard, I would take Shepherd because I don't
same,
think there's a world he's bad.
same. Like I need to watch more Nikola Topic and Zachary Rouche before I like go and talk about them. But
Tim's gonna come back next week. Zachary Roche. It's the
right,
greatest prospect I've ever seen. Where are these guys coming from? Nikola Topic, Jovic, and Jokic. Like, what is going on over there?
no, he plays for a team in Serbia. Um,
Yeah.
by the way, Serbia, Team USA, first round of the Olympics.
First round
Jok-
matchup.
Jokic is going to be a quadruple team. They're still only going to lose by 6.
Did you see Ant said he wanted to start?
Yeah,
No offense, I'm sorry, buddy. You're not starting on that team.
no, you're not.
It, it's not happening.
It's not.
It just
Yeah. All right. Well, we're at the Midwest here. So there's a few guys here we can talk about. Creighton's got a couple guys.
we got to start off with the big
We had
one.
to start with Zach Edey. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I was saying was I asked multiple scouts that I knew, does he have an NBA skill in your eyes? The fact that like your job is to evaluate these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, he's tall.
Yep.
They're like, he's going to be hunted in pick and rolls. There's just no way that he's going to be able to keep up. He can't move. Like they said, I literally was heard this exact quote was, laterally his feet move like he is attached to cement blocks.
Oh, 100%.
So I don't want to discredit him for just saying he's 7'3", because I do think he can score at a decent clip, besides the fact he can just like stand over everybody and put the ball in the hoop. But think about it this way. Okay, so he gets switched out and he's got to guard Nikola Jokic. Okay, he's got to guard Anthony Davis. He's got to guard Joel Embiid. He's got to guard
Giannis.
He's got to guard LeBron. He's got to guard, we're just going to Bam Adebayo. I mean, who
I'm
in
just
that
cracking
list
up
I
at
mentioned?
his best chance, truthfully, is to guard Jokic of those guys. Seriously.
Yeah.
Jokic will torch him because of skill, but like if he's guarding Davis or Giannis, that's just not ending well athletically.
No,
So
I mean,
that's
he guards Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson's going to be able
now
to score on him.
would Zach Edey be a top 5 pick 20 years ago?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Sean Bradley was the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah.
That was 30 years ago, but
Yao was the first pick, but Yao was skilled. Yao was very
yeah,
skilled.
Yao was good. Yao was very good.
Yeah, Yao today I think would still be like a top 10 pick.
For sure. Yeah.
Because he was actually like Yao nowadays would be shooting threes. He had a good jump shot then, so he would be definitely shooting 8 threes a game in today's NBA. Like seriously.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like Zach Edey, you can probably make the case like he's just a guy they're going to put like underneath the basket and just put his hands up.
Mhm.
But how does he adjust to having 3 in the key? How does he adjust to, really like not being the best player on the court in every situation? Because not only is he not going to be the best player on the court in this circumstance, like he has been in college for the sake of being AP Player of the Year, but Drew Timme was the guy that Ed loved in college, right?
Mhm.
He's been playing all year with the Wisconsin Herd. For those who don't know who that is a G League team.
He's not tearing it up either.
No, he's not. Actually, the game that I covered,
Sheeway's tearing it up at least.
Dude,
Sheeway's a monster down there.
Yeah, Tyrese Halliburton said he's the best rebounder in basketball, not just in the
Oh,
G League, in basketball.
I agree because he does one thing better than anybody else on the planet. Literally, like the dude can flat out rebound. What does Edey do? That's like he's tall.
Right, he's tall. So he's gonna get drafted. I don't think we're not sitting here to say like nothing that he's not gonna have an NBA career, because he is.
You mentioned, do you think there's a world he doesn't get drafted? I think it could happen.
It could happen, but do I think he's gonna get a chance to play NBA basketball? I really do.
I
don't know how.
Why doesn't he stay a 5th year though? You can dominate again. You're gonna make more money NIL than you will as a 2nd round pick.
Right.
You're the best player in your sport, in this sport of college basketball. Why? I don't understand why guys don't just use the 5th year anymore. Like, if you're not going to be a top pick, why not?
Yeah, I mean,
you make more money. Bacot did the smart thing. Yeah, he did the smart thing.
He's going to be in college for like 30 years. I mean, he just,
But at the same time, Edey winning the Player of the Year every year just makes it harder for him to stay in college. Because then it's like, all right, dude. It's like, all right, dude, buzz off.
Right. Yeah, especially when Purdue has never has tournament success, and it's like,
yeah. Yeah, especially if they lose in the first round tomorrow or Friday, and then he stays again. Imagine.
Yeah, don't put it past. I mean,
I
by the
think
way,
he's gonna just be like that, like 13th man on the bench, like just like special scenarios. They'll bring him in.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like he'll be used for special case scenarios. The one thing I could see with him, though, I will say this: he might develop a 3-point shot. Don't be shocked by that. He shoots free throws really well. For his size and stuff, I think he's above like 72, 73% from the line. He's pretty
yeah,
good from the free throw line. He has a nice touch. He's more skilled than you realize. Now he's slow, but skill wise, he's really like he's not just big when it comes to that. Like he has post moves. He has really nice touch around the rim.
he does.
Um, so I don't know. I still think he's worth a second round pick. I'd say he's worth a second round pick. He's in the
Tank
Caleb Love range.
Tankathon. This is pretty funny. So Tankathon has him in the second round, the
Mhm.
33rd pick, the San Antonio Spurs.
Wimbenyama, Reed Shepard, and,
Zach
and
Edey.
Zach Edey. That's a
Man,
dangerous dynamic trio right there.
yeah, it is. Um, where do we want to go from here, man? So Creighton's got a few guys I really like.
Yeah, Trey Alexander. Connect is
Love Trey
supposed to be a
Alexander.
lottery pick. Dalton Connect's supposed to be a lottery pick now.
Yeah, I do like him. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I like, yeah, I don't like that I like him, but I like him. But also, I just feel like he's gonna choke in this tournament. It's just Tennessee. But like NBA wise, I like him. I like him.
Yeah, he can't play
I
defense, and he's gonna be 23 when he gets drafted. But other than that,
he's giving me like Cam Johnson vibes. That's what he's giving me. Older when he
yeah.
comes out of college, can really shoot it. He's just
So
now he's like the worst defender in the country. He's
he's,
horrible.
he's really
No,
not
like
good.
he's worse than Edie. He's horrible defensively. If you really watch, like Kentucky was just going at him and cooking him. Now he had 40 on the
He
other
scored
end.
40, but he was also giving up 40. Yeah,
He also shot like 40 times that game. Like it was not an efficient 40 in that one.
right.
He's had efficient 40-point games, but that one was not. He has bust like in the gut feeling to me though. Like he really does. I like him. I like his game, but I just like in my gut, just something tells me like he's gonna be out of the league in 4 years.
I could see it. Yeah, but I could also see him being like the 17th guy off the bench that just knocks down threes. And
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, Cam Johnson role even like that would be like the peak is what I feel like. I feel like his ceiling is like Cam Johnson, like high end starter who can shoot.
I could see that. My draft hot take, because I know a lot of people have this guy in the middle of the second. I think if I was a team with a late first round pick, I'd be very comfortable taking Trey Alexander as for sake of combo guard who can run an offense, needs to get better as a shooter for sure. But has athleticism that's pretty close to second to none in a lot of circumstances. Can pass the ball, doesn't turn the ball over. The wingspan is just going to like jump off this. His measurements going to jump off the paper, and 18 points a game in the Big East is not super easy. He's a really, really good player. I I think like if I'm, let's
I,
say, if
I'm
I'm the
high on
Mavericks,
Alexander too.
yeah, if I'm the Mavericks and I have a late first
That's a
round
good
pick,
fit.
would
That's a
love
good
him.
fit.
Would absolutely love to take him.
Yeah, he has high end 3-and-D wing written all over him to me.
Yeah, that's
I
a great way to
agree.
put it.
I agree. I just realized we missed Cody Williams in the what bracket is that? The South.
Yeah, because
But
they're
at
in
the
the
same
first
time,
four.
there's a chance he doesn't play tonight though. So or doesn't play after this podcast is up. So
Well,
um
Colorado's got like four guys who can go in the draft, and it's like
Silva, yeah, KJ Simpson.
I like KJ Simpson, probably a second rounder, but
Oh, he's really good though. He's a great college player, especially. He's a really good college player.
yeah, I mean UConn has like two other guys we didn't talk about besides Alex Caravan is a guy who's really good, who is like a really good college player. Um, I had notes for another guy here, of course, as I it was. Of course, this happens. Well, Alex Caravan is going to be really fun. Tristan Newton, I actually really like. I don't know if he's an NBA player, but
Yeah.
um,
I
Lost
love
my
Tristan
next.
Newton. I love Tristan Newton. Do you want to do a like one guy we think can really like improve their draft stock with a good turning run? One
Yeah,
guy each.
yeah, for
All
sure.
right.
Well, I can't say Ryan Dunn now because Virginia was the worst team ever to make the tournament.
I hate Virginia basketball, man. The play style just gets 30 times worse when they don't have talent. Like there
Yeah,
were NBA guys on those rosters and they were playing like this, but it wasn't that bad or low scoring because they were like Houston now. They were efficient. They just played slow.
right.
Now they're inefficient and play slow, and it's you want to claw your eyes out watching them play basketball. It's horrible.
Yeah, I agree. My guy that I think could really help his stock for go and run, and of course we already talked about the fact that Arizona is so risky to bet on in the tournament. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
with Pele Larson, their shooting guard out of Sweden. Dude
Hmm.
shot 43% from three into college level. I think has a chance to really be a really good scorer in the league. And Arizona does finally go on the run that they've been promised to go on for a decade now. Sorry again, Sean Miller. I do love you very much. You're one of my favorite coaches I've ever worked with. Um, I think Larson has, if he goes out in the tournament, first two rounds, right? He has a 30-point game in the first round. Second round, that 2-7 game, he has a 26-point game. Sweet 16 has like a 17.7 assist game. Yeah, immediately we're like, what's his combine going to look like? I think Pele Larson is a guy that could really do that.
For mine, I'm not trying to be a homer, but I'm gonna go with somebody I've watched a lot of because I know what I'm talking about here. I don't understand why Antonio Reeves is not a second round pick in most of these.
Yeah,
I
I was going
really
to use
don't get
Justin
it.
Edwards, but I figured we talked about Kentucky a lot, so
Yeah, I was gonna do Edwards or Reeves, but like Reeves can flat out shoot the shit out of the ball. And he's a bigger wing. He's like 6'6", got good size. I mean, 51% from the field, 44% from three, 87% from the line, 20 points per game on only 13 shots a game. Like the dude can flat out score. I really don't get it. I think he should be a second round pick.
I do too.
And I think with a good tournament run, if he averages 25 throughout the tournament and they go on a real run, I think he'll end up getting into that second round.
Yeah, I agree. I will go ahead once again. I'll point out Osa Iguodaro. Marquette has a good run. Maybe is the guy that goes from the first round, from the late first to the lottery. I just don't think Deron Holmes and Dayton are going to be in the tournament long enough to get to that point,
Yeah,
just because they have really tough draws. What about Johnny Furphy from Kansas? Could we see him hopping up a little bit?
yeah, he could definitely. I definitely could see that from him. He's definitely improved as the season has gone on too. So like it's kind of those players that have been playing better as the season went on, but started off rough. So not everybody was paying attention that they got better. Um, I definitely could see like we talked about it earlier, but Terrence Shannon Jr. I could see his
Me too.
stock going up a ton. The only thing holding him back is the age. That's literally it.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it because this guy was also a guy who was much older when he got to the draft, but why can't Terrence Shannon be Buddy Hield?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I forget Buddy Hield's like 32. He's only been in the NBA like 6 or 7 years.
Or 34. We don't actually know,
Yeah, he
but
might be like 34, but seriously, like he came into the league like a year before Fox. And Fox is
yeah,
like 25 and he's like 31 or 32. It's just crazy.
that was the biggest draft poll I was ever in. So Villanova won the title that year. That was the Chris Jenkins shot.
Yeah,
Um,
it was.
and I was in this big bracket poll, and like I was like, it was down to me and one of my friends. So we both had North Carolina winning it all,
Uh-huh.
and I had
Oh
Oklahoma,
God.
and he had Villanova. So if whoever won between Oklahoma and Villanova to get to the national championship was going to win the bracket. Villanova beat Oklahoma by like 40.
Hmm.
So I did not win.
Was that was some of the worst pain you've ever felt in your
Oh
life?
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I've already
Um,
known.
one more guy I want to make sure we mentioned, even though I'm not in love with him, but there are people that really like him. Jared McCain out of Duke.
Very
I
efficient shooter.
Yeah, very efficient, takes care of the ball. Just a guy you can trust as an additional ball
He's
handler.
kind of like a poor man's Reed Shepard. Like he has a very similar game. He's just not as good, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like I said, like he's just an additional ball handler you can trust. And in the playoffs, that goes a long way. And like that's a guy that when you need to give like your Damian Lillard a break, that's a guy that you can really look to be like, all right, just make sure the offense, everyone's where they need to be. And if we're in transition, find the open guy. And I think Jared McCain is perfect for that role.
I'll mention one guy to watch in the tournament. Maybe not his NBA draft stock as much, but just a fun guy to watch. Isaiah Stevens from Colorado State. The dude can
Yeah.
flat out play. He's a bucket. He's a real deal hooper. He averages like 17 and 8 assists. Like he's a very well-rounded player, and he's exciting as hell to watch. So that's a player you'll want to watch during the tournament. Don't be shocked if Colorado State wins a game or two.
How much of the women's tournament do you think you'll watch? I think I'm going to watch a lot more than I normally do.
I'll watch the Final Four. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna watch the rest of it.
Juju Watkins is must see TV.
It's I don't even know what it's just like. Do they play on the same days?
I think they're like opposites. So their first day is Friday and Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, then I'll probably watch it if it's not on the same days. But if it's on the same days, I'm gonna watch the men's, obviously. But I watched the Final Four last year, so I'll definitely watch like the end of the year and stuff.
This could be like
it's just my problem with women's is there's not many upsets. They just it's very predictable who's gonna win. That's the problem. It's very top heavy.
Plus, I don't know if they changed it or not this year, but the top seed gets to play at home to start the tournament.
Yeah, that's how it. I think it's because they just don't have as much money to rent out the venues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it's been. Even though they're reporting all these numbers and stuff that women's is selling more and stuff. I thought today, but somebody made a good point. They said the reason they've sold more Final Four tickets is because you pretty much know who's going to be in the Final Four with women's, and then men, it's literally a toss up. So they don't want to buy the tickets yet. Which that's my there's no way to fix it though. That's my gripe with women's college basketball because Caitlin Clark is awesome. She actually makes it entertaining to watch. Like some of those, the LSU team's fun to watch too. Juju Watkins is tough, like you said. Yeah. It's just
I love Paige Buchers.
Paige Buchers. It's the talent gap in female sports is way wider. Like in terms of Division I talent, there's some bad teams that are going to be in that tournament.
I joked about this.
Whereas men, anyone can beat anyone. Not anyone can beat anyone in the girls' tournament. That's why you see the same Final Fours a lot of times. Or at least.
I joked about this. So I talked about this in the show. My wife and I, we took my daughter to her first game. It was Xavier women versus UConn women on Valentine's Day at Cintas. And it looked like they were playing two different sports.
No,
it was just that different level of talent.
That's what I don't know. I feel like as evolution goes on, they'll get closer in talent and stuff because girls obviously are getting better, but it's just the talent gap in women's sports is just crazy. It's like college football.
Yeah,
it's that's what it is. Because you almost know it's gonna be South Carolina, USC, Iowa, LSU
UConn,
will be in the mix, UConn. It'll be a
Louisville,
combination of
Notre
those
Dame.
teams. Yeah, it'll be a combination of those teams in there. Indiana's good. Ohio State's good too in women's.
Yeah.
So it'll be a combination of those teams. It's just you don't see many double-digit seeds going around in women's. Whereas men's, you see St. Peter's go to the Elite Eight. Seriously,
right.
You wouldn't
George
see
Mason
that
go to the Final Four.
Yeah. Butler go to back-to-back championship games. Seriously.
This close to winning a title.
That was before Butler was even Power 5 Butler, too. That was when they were just
A-10 team.
The Big East, is it just Power 6 for basketball, I guess?
Yeah.
Because the Big East is a power conference.
Yeah. I get really annoyed by when people do this whole thing, and you might know this a little bit just because you filled in for me last year for Xavier for a little bit. Mm-hmm. When people do this thing where they're like, well, the Big East is not the same as it used to be. I'm like, they have 3 of the last 7 national champions. All right, let's stop acting like there's a drop off.
It was down in the middle of the 2010s, but it's back.
Yeah,
100%. It was down. Who was in the Big East when it was down? It was when UConn was in the AAC and stuff.
Louisville, Notre Dame were just going over, just about to go to the ACC. UC was there.
Xavier wasn't in it yet, right?
No, they were in the Atlantic 10. Butler was in the Atlantic 10. This is before the
Creighton was in the Missouri Valley.
Yeah, so Villanova was still there, but they weren't Villanova yet.
There was a little bit of a time where people thought the Big East was going to die completely.
Yeah, those people. Though
it was rough for a couple years. Though.
It was, but the Garden saves a lot of things. Parker, ask the Knicks.
St. John's was still there. Georgetown was still there. Wait,
Yeah.
was Georgetown still
Yep.
there? I believe they were the whole
Yep.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't
Why
bet.
was UConn in the AAC? What the hell was that?
I don't know. But I remember when Xavier played UConn in the Charleston Classic. This was 2019-2020 season. I was talking to UConn fans. It was the year before they went back to the Big East, and they were like, "We can't wait. We're just so excited to get back to the Big East." It's been awesome having them back, and obviously they're awesome. They're freaking really good.
There's nothing like Gus Johnson calling a Big East game.
Oh,
Seriously.
it's the best, man.
I
It's the
love Gus
best.
Johnson.
Me
I
too.
love Gus Johnson. I
So
hope he does the playoffs again like he did last year, the first round
that
of
would
the NBA
be
playoffs.
so fantastic.
That was awesome last year when he did that. I remember we were coming back from, where were we at? I was with you. I'm trying to think
Was it
where we would have
TBT?
gone. No, because it wouldn't have been in the summer. It was. I think we went to a Reds game. I was watching the Hawks Celtics game in the car, and you were like, "Is that Gus Johnson?"
Yeah.
Because I was like, "I'm gonna turn on the game for us to listen to," and you were like, "Is that Gus Johnson?" And I was like, "I think it is." What the hell? It was that
I
game.
forgot about that.
Trey Young hit that
Yeah.
game 3. Remember, we were in the car listening to it when it happened.
I remember that now. Thank you for reminding me
Yeah,
about that. That was awesome.
yeah, because we were shocked it was Gus Johnson.
That's a gem that we need to have forever.
Yeah,
We ran pretty long this week in the tournament talk, and that's fine. So we probably we don't have a flashback this week, but we are going to do our starting 5. So the idea is we're going to try to build a team based on what they did in college that went to of guys that went to a Final Four. This is a mess, but
yeah. There's so many picks.
there's so many picks, and especially when there's only 2 of us, it's like, how do you
gonna do only people like you've seen?
No, I'll probably do. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go back and do like Irvin Johnson and things like that. Though I probably could.
Yeah. John would have some guy from the 50s he found on there.
Yeah, he's like, remember when Pat Riley played at Kentucky? And
I was there.
yeah, I've seen the movie Glory Road.
Yeah.
So, well, he's not here. So, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
It's up to you. I don't care.
Yeah, we're not
no
gonna
snake, right?
Yeah, no snake because there are only 2 of us.
Yeah, I don't care. There's no first pick that's like, oh, he got him here today, because I have no idea who you would take, so you can have it.
Yeah, it's tough. All right, I'm gonna go fun one, and
yeah, I feel like that's how I'm gonna go with mine. I'm not gonna try and build like the best possible team. I'm just gonna have fun.
I'm gonna take the second biggest what if in Chicago Bulls draft history. And I'm gonna take Jay Williams of the 2001 national champion Duke Blue Devils. If he does not have, I stand by this because his rookie year
Wait,
1 year.
They won it all? I
Yeah.
thought Jay Williams never won it all. Dang.
That's
JJ Redick. That's JJ Redick never won it all.
So Jay Williams, listen to this: NCAA championship, all tournament, all region, high school parade All-American, 2002 AP Player of the Year, Naismith Award winner, Adolph Rupp Award winner, 3-time All-ACC, 3-time All-ACC tournament, ACC Player of the Year, and ACC tournament MVP. In college, averaged 19 points and 6 assists with 4 rebounds. If he does not get in that motorcycle accident, I don't believe Derrick Rose ever plays for the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah. Did he ever even play after it? Like, did he attempt?
He got an invite to camp with the Nets, but did not make the team.
And then he was just retired after that?
Yeah, became an analyst.
That's wild. That legitimately
so
is just
good.
wild.
It was so freaking good.
Yeah, that sucks.
He's in the same draft as DeJuan Wagner, which are 2 guys that's like, man, if those guys could have been healthy.
He was in that awful draft, too. That was that draft that didn't have much talent at all.
Yeah. That's the year before LeBron.
Yep.
That's the only draft.
For my first pick, I'm gonna go with I'd say since I've been alive, had the greatest season, I'd say, in college basketball, Anthony Davis at Kentucky. I mean, he was just like, he blocked every shot. Every time anybody came in the paint, it was getting blocked. He was the greatest, definitely the best defender since I've been alive in college basketball. And he just wasn't asked to score as much, but I mean, still averaged 15 points a game and grabbed 10 boards. But he easily could have done a lot more than that offensively, too, in a different system.
NCAA tournament MVP, scoring 8 points in the national championship.
Yeah. Didn't he win? And he won every single award you possibly could win in the entire country that he was available for. Like every player of the year, every freshman of the year, every defensive player of the year.
I think
center award.
I think I feel comfortable in saying I think he's the best college player I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
And that's not a knock on Zion. That's not a knock on He was just what he's won everything, literally, including the in-season tournament now. So
Yeah, the dude, like, he like, you don't realize it, but Anthony Davis is going to end up being arguably like a top 30 player when he retires, and people are going to be like shocked by it and think it's crazy. But then you're going to be like, this guy made 15 All-Star teams, 12 All-NBA teams.
right.
Like, you're going to be like, oh shit.
He just never got an MVP. Is the
Yeah,
conversation we're gonna have.
yeah, literally. Could
Well,
have won a Finals MVP easily.
I took Jay Williams. That can make things a little tricky. All right. Let's see. Where will I go from here? I'll go Mr. Timeout. I'll take Chris Webber.
Ooh, good pick.
He was so good. Everyone just remembers the timeout, but he was so good those 2 years in Michigan. Like, unbelievably. I mean, he was the first pick in the draft for a reason. But, dude, like that game against North Carolina, he is awesome. He is so good. People just remember the timeout.
That's one of the like few like games before I was born that I've actually watched in full like a couple of times. It's like such a good game.
It's such a great game.
Yeah, and they were fun to watch. Like watching those games, like they look awesome to watch. That Fab Five team. Because I remember when I was a kid, I thought that documentary was so cool.
It's awesome. It's on like 4 times a day, but it's worth watching.
Agreed. If you haven't seen that somehow,
yeah. If you don't know what we're talking about,
I've seen that like 15 times probably.
Yeah. It'll be on when we stop recording tonight somewhere.
Literally. But yeah, I mean, Chris Webber, great pick there. You can't go wrong with that. For my second pick, sorry, I'm gonna pair Anthony Davis with a point guard here. Give me Cardiac Kemba. Give me Kemba Walker.
That's the right call. He was
that dude run was awesome in college. That run was awesome. This was one of the first like one of the first runs like while I got into basketball younger. Like I remember everything from they beat Brandon Knight in Kentucky in the Final Four. Remember that? Because Kentucky was on a crazy run too. They weren't supposed to make that run either. Kemba Walker was awesome. The step back shot to win that Big East tournament game, that was disgusting.
Dude, that
was he a part of that 6 overtime game too that year? Was that year?
No, that was Johnny Flynn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was.
I remember that one too.
Yeah, Johnny Flynn taken before Steph Curry, by the way.
Yeah, the Ricky Rubio one's a little more like.
Sure.
He still had a really good career. Like Rubio was still a really good player for a long time, but yeah, Johnny Flynn is really bad.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. Kemba Walker was awesome in college. Had a great NBA career, obviously too. Borderline Hall of Fame player for the NBA because it's not that hard to get in. Probably does get in because of his college career.
Yeah, he'll get in.
I forgot. Yeah, it's college too, so he'll get in.
Yeah. Probably one of the worst NCAA championship game of all time against Butler because both teams were just so worn out.
Yeah, that game was bad. I remember that game. That game was really bad.
Yeah, but you're so locked in that you didn't even know how bad it was till you thought back about it and you were like, oh yeah, that was really bad.
Yeah, and this pick, I took him over Shabazz Napier because, I mean, it's like one or the other, and Kemba was definitely better.
Yeah, and Shabazz Napier beats Kentucky in the championship. Like,
yeah, the Kentucky team that seemed like they were just destined.
Yeah, they were the 8th seed.
And Aaron Harrison went unconscious, hit like 4 game winners in a row.
Louisville, then Michigan, right? He beat back-to-back.
Yeah, they were like that North Carolina team a couple years ago, that Kentucky team. Because they were the 8th seed, but they were the number 1 team in the country at the beginning of the year, and they were definitely the most talented team in the country. It's just they didn't put it together at all.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to take another guy who injury fate changed everything. Played for a national title, runner-up, was the first pick in the draft. Greg Oden.
Oh,
if you have not seen Greg Oden's Ohio State tape, holy crap. He was unbelievable, man.
Unbelievable.
Really, in the NBA, he was unbelievable. He just couldn't stay healthy.
Not a bust. Not a
bust at all.
Averaged 11 and 10 his rookie year in like 20 minutes per game. That's not a bust.
Yeah. He
would have at worst been prime Andrew Bynum. At worst. That would have been his worst case scenario, which was an all-star. And he would have been the best center in the NBA with Dwight Howard during that era, in my opinion.
I agree.
That era was not that strong with centers either.
So there's this like crazy stat. I think it's in all the games that him, Brandon Roy, and LaMarcus Aldridge play together, they win 62-20.
Yeah. No, it's better than that, Tim.
Was it 66-16 or something like that?
I think it's like 66 and like 12 or some shit like that. Like it's like
Crazy.
crazy. It's less than 20 losses. I know that.
Yeah, those like he was just so freaking good, man. And like that Ohio State team, I know they lost to Florida during their back-to-back title run, but he was the man. He was so good.
Speaking of which, random. Do you like Mark Titus? You ever listen to his
Love him.
stuff?
I
Oh, you
actually
do?
Sean
I'm
and I
a
went and
big Mark. I literally just found him like 5 months ago. I love him.
oh dude, Sean and I went down this is 4 or 5 years ago when he was working for the Ringer. Him and Tate did a live show in Louisville. We went down and watched it.
Seriously, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
big Titus fan. I love listening to him because it's like a combination of very informative, but he doesn't take himself too seriously. He jokes around too. So
It's the
that's
only
what I
thing on
like.
Barstool I can stand.
Is Mark Titus.
Yeah. Not a
I,
Barstool guy.
I I like Pardon My Take. I like Pardon My Take, but I don't like any other shit. The other stuff I think is stupid. But
Also, the Barstool people hate me. So
really,
yeah.
all
Yeah.
right. What? Who am I gonna go with next? I need like a wing here. Oh, I have a
Yeah.
list. Let me
I
pull
need
up my
wings as
list.
well.
I got 15 names on here. I need a wing. Do you know who? All right, all right. I can go with this one. Give me JJ Redick.
It's good. Yeah. Forgot that he didn't win a title, but they were in the Final Four.
They were in the Final Four. The most hated player since I've been alive in college basketball.
Yeah.
Cold-blooded basketball player though. Like, dude has become likable in his post career,
Yeah, he
but
really has.
him at Duke was like I've watched a documentary on it, just how hated JJ Redick was in college. Like it was this little mini documentary, and oh my god,
So I remember when he got arrested right before his draft,
what did he
and
get
people
arrested
were
for? Like a DUI or something?
like, "You can't take him. He's obviously a punk." And it's like, let's calm down. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, because he got drafted to Orlando, and obviously ended up having a
wasn't
great NBA career.
wasn't good his first like 4 years though.
Right? They traded to the Bucks for half a year.
Yeah,
Also,
he averaged like damn near 20 points a game on the 18-19 Sixers. Like he was like the second leading scorer to it. He averaged more than Jimmy Butler on that team. I noticed that the other day. I was in
he
shock. I was
his
like,
first free agent year. Who was it? I think it was Orlando. He was with.
he was
Might have
signing with
been
the Bulls, wasn't he?
down with the Bulls. They had an offer sheet. I was like so excited, and obviously it didn't end up happening.
Yeah, I've heard him talk about it on his pod before. I've heard him talk about it on his pod that he like signed with the Bulls and everything. I think he was talking to Caruso about it because obviously Caruso signed with the Bulls. Um, yeah, JJ Redick. I mean, one of the greatest scorers in college basketball history. He's the all-time leading scorer in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? Still, yeah,
Sure
absolute
is.
bucket. If you watch it now, that's for people out there who haven't seen JJ Redick's high school or college highlights. That's a highlights you need to watch. It's
That's yeah.
disgusting. The difficulty of the shots he takes in college, and he just does not care, and he makes them all is crazy.
It is
And it
crazy.
was before his time too. Like it was before people were shooting shots like that.
I'm trying to think of who I wanted. I'm doing some research right now.
Yeah, because the pool is literally everybody. You just got to see if
Yeah.
they made a Final Four.
Right. And like you said,
Like
we're not.
Reddick. Here, go ahead.
And you're like, oh, we don't want to take guys who just like. All right, let's see.
Because like Reddick's was his sophomore year, he made the Final Four, which wasn't his best years, but I mean, his college career was insane.
It was insane.
But yeah, cold ass white boy.
Cold ass white boy.
That's what Mark Titus always says. Cold ass white boy. That's JJ Redick.
That's true. He was a cold ass white boy. Oh, I know where I'm going. All right. 2013 national runner up again. For some reason, I really like those guys.
So they lost to Louisville.
They lost the Michigan Wolverines.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Karis LeVert.
Yeah. That trio backcourt was disgusting in college. Trey Burke, him, and Tim Hardaway Jr.
Dude, they were so good.
Was Stauskas on that team? No, I think
What?
I think he was on the team, but he wasn't like the star yet. That was the next year he became the star.
Yeah, he was the year they lost. He lost to Kentucky. Yeah,
Yeah, that was the next year, right?
Yeah. Again, I know there's probably 45, 46 different people you can put above him, but for this draft, we're just having fun with it. Putting him with Jay Williams, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I'm gonna go with my favorite college basketball player of all time. Tim, you're gonna be shocked who this is. He's the guy who got me in really to basketball, like him and LeBron, truthfully, because I was a North Carolina fan, as shocking as it is, when I was a kid. I got Kentucky washed by my family later on, but I was a North Carolina fan. Psycho T, Tyler Hansbrough, was my favorite college
Nice.
basketball player ever. I love that dude.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. I remember the dunk he has over Kenny George, the like 7'8" guy. He just drives to the rim and posterized. Like nobody played with more passion than Tyler Hansbrough. He was as college player as it gets, but somehow he was a lottery pick. I have no idea what people saw with that, but I mean, he embodied college basketball. Dude was awesome in college.
Yeah, he really was. I mean, he was, the AP player of the year. He was national champion. He was, what, they played 3 Final Fours?
I think he was a four-time All-American.
Yeah.
And he's North Carolina's all-time leading scorer. Still, like RJ Davis hasn't even broke that, and he's been there. Him
30 years.
Baycott have been there 30 years. I want to say, like, let me look at his college accolades real quick.
I have my last pick, so I'll wait till you get done because you're gonna be like, I can't believe I forgot this guy.
Yeah, he was a 4-time first-team All-American and a 2-time National Player of the Year.
It's pretty good.
That would never happen today. Nobody would ever
nope.
be in that. That would never happen. He was like right before that would never happen again.
Yeah, he really is. All right, well, you took the greatest one and done of all time. So I got to take the second greatest one and done of all time for my last pick. I'm taking Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how he fell this late.
Because we don't know any better.
Yeah, I mean, 1 year at Syracuse, title, National Player of the Year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And
on the cover of a March Madness video game.
Yeah, got Jim Boeheim his only ring, cemented Jim Boeheim's legacy as one of the GOATs.
Yep.
Without that, I don't know if you look at Jim Boeheim the same. You look at him as you look at Bob Huggins, I guess.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, so that's definitely a good pick. Andy's obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Top 10 scorer ever.
Yeah, at the moment, top 10. Well, they'll probably change, but.
Yeah, DeMar DeRozan's going to pass him.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. That's probably what's going to happen. That'll be the next guy. Well, actually, Westbrook and Harden will definitely pass him, but yeah. Westbrook, who knows? But yeah, I definitely like that pick. So I got one more pick. I got JJ Redick. I got Kemba Walker. I got Tyler Hansborough. And I got Anthony Davis. So I need like a 3. Oh, this is hard.
This is hard.
So hard. This is so hard. Hold up. I got to see if this guy made a Final Four. I have a guy that I want to pick. You're just going to be shocked by who I take. How do I got to type in the team, I guess, to see if they made a Final Four. Use basketball. All right, I can't find it, so I'm not going to take him. You know what? I'm going to go with the second because I just can't think of somebody to be my small forward other than that. Actually, you know what? Screw it. I'm taking Jordan Hawkins. He was awesome last year.
Yeah, he was awesome last year.
He was awesome. We were early high on Jordan Hawkins, by the way.
We were, yeah.
When he was like a late first round or early second round pick, we were saying that dude should be in the lottery easily.
Yeah, because you covered that UConn Xavier game that year, right?
Mm-hmm. And
yeah, because it was when
Xavier won, but
it was when I was on paternity leave. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was awesome, man. I love that kid. I like him now. He's playing pretty well now. So
you want to know my pick that I didn't know if they made a Final Four? I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I used to love this guy for some reason. CJ Fair from Syracuse. I was a big fan of that team and CJ Fair. Really liked that guy for some reason. Big
was that
fan.
The Fab Melo team? Was Fab Melo on that team?
That was the team they were ranked number 1 all year. I didn't remember if they made the Final Four. Tyler Ennis was the point guard. I believe it was the
Tyler Ennis. I forgot about him.
I can't remember if they made the Final Four or not in any of those runs. Because it seems like Syracuse has always been when they're not supposed to do shit, they do stuff like they go
Right.
far. But when
Yeah,
they're supposed
they've had
to, they
like
don't.
there was one year they were the 11th seed who had a play-in game who went to the Final Four.
Yeah, they've done it multiple times. Like every time I see Syracuse as an 11 when it was under Boeheim, I'm like, oh,
Yep.
yep, they're getting to the
Going on a
Sweet
run.
16.
Yeah.
They're not gonna win it
I
all, but they're gonna go on a run.
I was between for the Odin pick. I was between him and Emeka. I loved Emeka Okafor.
Really?
Yeah, I was really close to taking him, but I was like, Greg Oden was so nasty, and I
Oh,
think he
agreed.
deserves to get his flowers because we talked about Emeka Okafor last week. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that was good. We got to think of a draft for
Well,
next week,
Tim,
huh?
CJ Fair went to the Final Four.
There you go.
I was right in 2013.
All right, is it my who's the most recent? You were the most recent between the two of us taking a draft, so it's my turn.
Yeah.
All right. Hell, let's do it. We haven't done it yet. We've talked about doing it, but we haven't done it. Next week, we will do, with a caveat, we'll do the all-time hoop sneaker draft, but you can only use each style once. So you can only use one Jordan. You can only use one LeBron. You can only use one Kobe.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because if you just go Jordan 1, Jordan 3, Jordan 7, Jordan 10, then it's like that's not fun.
Are
So
we talking about like? So we're talking about like how it looks on the court, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, the Jordans don't look as good on the court as they do off the court.
they
That's
do in
why
the
I was.
90s.
Yeah, that's true. But
Yeah.
Kobe's look pretty damn good on the court.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yeah. Of course, I'm like a Nike guy, true and true. So like anyone else, I'm like, I don't care about Hardens. I don't care about Lillard. So
I will say Harden's last shoe, the one before these, the sevens, I want to say, I loved. Do you know what I'm talking about?
yep.
They look like the T Max. I love those. His second latest shoe. I was a big fan of those. I got a pair of those
I just
to
found
like
like
play inside and stuff when I play ever.
I didn't realize I had like 3 or 4 pair of PG1s until recently when I was going through stuff. I was like, I didn't realize I had these many pair of these. I love that shoe when it came out.
Oh, I did too. That was my basketball shoe when those came out. I had the all white ones with what's the word I'm trying to look for? What's the word I'm looking for the sole? Like the blue sole. What's the word I'm looking for though? Ice bottom.
Yeah.
Ice bottom. I couldn't think what I was trying to say. I was like, what am I thinking of? But
Yeah.
yeah, those are a good shoe. That'll be a fun draft though.
That'll be fun. Sean doesn't really do a whole lot in shoes, so he might be at a little bit of a disadvantage, but we'll catch him up.
The Converse weapons.
Yeah, he'll take the Shaqnosis
What
for sure.
was
Calling it
the pump shoe? What were those called?
the Reebok pumps.
Yeah, the Reebok pumps.
Sean Kemp. Now, he had the kamikaze.
My dad downstairs has a pair of Clyde Drexler's Reebok shoes
Nice.
from like whenever the hell that was, probably the 80s. I'm assuming, maybe
Mhm.
early 90s.
I will tell you for this for sure. Sean will for sure, if we don't take it, which we probably won't because we know better. The Indestructs Dennis Rodman shoe, the Nike one, he'll for sure take this. I'm telling you now.
Some Barkley posits getting drafted in this.
Yeah, it's gonna be some off the wall stuff, but it's gonna be fun. All right, well, we're gonna go and wrap up this week's edition of NBA Friday on a Thursday, getting you ready for the tournament before we get out of control here. We already ran a little longer than we expected, but thanks for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Hey, check out everything going on in the Riverfront this week as we're getting ready for opening day and crying because every bad thing's happening to the Reds this week. Also, be sure to check out the Bengals shows. We're kind of wrapping up free agency and getting ready to move on to the draft, which is kind of a wild time. The Bengals have had a fun offseason so far, so that's been good. And then, of course, check out Late Night Reds with myself on Sunday and Ben Brown. Check me out next Thursday at 1 o'clock for opening day. I'll be down at Moorline Lager House, guest hosting with Strawberry Ice. Jeff Trenopole, our guy. I'll be doing his show from 1 to 3 at Moorline for opening day. So come hang out with me. I don't have beers anymore, but I'm going to need something to get through this baseball season, apparently. So on behalf of Parker Fields and Sean Mackey, this is Tim Daniel. Have a good night, everybody.